It wasn't just another American fighter, it was the weapon that would shatter Japanese air power forever. On the 19th of June, 1944, the skies above the Philippine Sea burned with the roar of F6F Hellcats. Every Japanese pilot knew their legendary Zero had met its match. Armed with powerful engines, armor plating, and deadly machine guns, the Hellcat hunted its prey with ruthless precision. What followed wasn't a battle, it was an execution. In a single day, hundreds of Japanese planes were obliterated, American losses were minimal, and the myth of Japanese air supremacy was destroyed forever. The era of the Hellcat had begun. The F6F Hellcat was more than just a fighter. It was a revolutionary weapon designed to dominate the skies and crush the once feared Mitsubishi A6 Zero. Developed by Grumman during World War II, the Hellcat combined raw power, advanced engineering, and pilot protection in a way that no Japanese aircraft could match. At its heart was the Pratt & Whitney R2800 double Wasp engine, producing 2,000 horsepower, pushing the Hellcat to speeds of 380 miles per hour, and allowing it to climb at over 2,500 feet per minute. This sheer power gave American pilots the ability to engage or disengage at will, outclimbing, outrunning, and outmaneuvering the enemy. But speed was only part of the story. The Hellcat was heavily armored, with protection around the cockpit, bulletproof glass, and self-sealing fuel tanks that could withstand multiple hits. Its 6.50 caliber Browning machine guns, carefully harmonized to converge at the perfect range, could unleash a devastating cone of fire that made even experienced pilots think twice. Every component was designed for reliability and simplicity, ensuring that Hellcats could survive punishing combat and return their pilots safely to their carriers. Perhaps most importantly, the Hellcat was built for mass production and standardization. Thousands were produced between 1942 and 1945, each identical to the last, allowing for rapid repairs and interchangeability in the field. Combined with the best-trained pilots, radar guidance, and a massive industrial support system, the Hellcat became the ultimate tool for achieving air superiority. It wasn't just a plane, it was a symbol of American engineering, strategy, and unstoppable power in the Pacific theater. By June 1944, the stage was set for a decisive confrontation in the Pacific theater. The United States had assembled Task Force 58, the largest carrier force in history, poised to strike the Mariana Islands. This formidable armada included 15 fast aircraft carriers, 7 battleships, 21 cruisers, and 69 destroyers, carrying nearly 1,000 aircraft, with almost half being F6F Hellcats. Each carrier group was capable of independent action, coordinated with precise planning and cutting-edge radar technology, giving the Americans a level of situational awareness that the Japanese could only dream of. Opposing them was Admiral Jisaburo Ozawa, commanding 9 Japanese carriers with roughly 430 aircraft. On paper, the numbers seemed formidable, but the reality told a different story. Most of Ozawa's pilots were inexperienced replacements, many with less than 100 total flight hours. Ammunition shortages meant some had never fired their guns in training, while American pilots averaged 300-400 hours, with extensive gunnery and carrier qualifications. The Japanese plan relied on their planes' longer range, allowing strikes from beyond American reach and refueling at nearby islands. Yet they underestimated the technological advantages of Task Force 58. The Americans had radar capable of detecting incoming raids from 150 miles out, and fighter directors could vector Hellcats to perfect intercept points. Anti-aircraft shells with proximity fuses added another layer of lethal defense. This was not merely a battle of planes, it was a clash of strategy, training, and industrial power. The Americans controlled the skies before the first shot was fired, and the Japanese pilots were flying into a trap that would decimate their forces. By the time the first wave of Hellcats ascended, the die had already been cast. The era of Japanese carrier aviation was coming to an end. On the 11th of June, 1944, Task Force 58 began its preliminary assault on the Mariana Islands. Fighter sweeps and bombing raids struck Saipan, Tinian, and Guam, catching the Japanese completely by surprise. Only 50 land-based aircraft were available to defend the islands, leaving the Japanese unprepared for the scale and precision of the American attack. In the first sweep alone, 208 F6F Hellcats claimed 86 Japanese planes destroyed, signaling the start of a systematic annihilation of Japanese air power in the region. Leading these strikes was Commander David McCampbell, a 4-year-old Alabama native commanding Air Group 15 from the USS Essex. Once an underperforming gunnery officer who struggled to qualify, McCampbell had become a tactical genius in the air. Alongside him were other skilled pilots, each fully trained, disciplined, and confident in their aircraft. Every pilot knew their Hellcat was faster, stronger, and more deadly than anything the Japanese could field. By the 15th of June, American forces landed on Saipan, prompting Japan to initiate Operation Ago, their last chance for a decisive carrier battle. They committed every available ship and aircraft, including both carrier and land-based planes, hoping to strike the Americans from a distance, refuel on nearby islands, and return for another attack. However, the Americans held the advantage. Radar operators across Task Force 58 detected incoming Japanese aircraft from over 150 miles away, allowing fighter directors to vector Hellcats to intercept at optimal altitudes and positions. The first wave of Japanese planes, flying in tight formations, were essentially marching into a trap. The Hellcats, guided by experienced fighter controllers, climbed to gain altitude, ready to unleash their deadly firepower. What followed was a devastating display of American air superiority. Japanese pilots, inexperienced and poorly trained, maintained straight and level formations, making themselves easy targets. In just a single engagement, American pilots shredded the attacking planes, demonstrating the lethal combination of superior aircraft, advanced technology, and rigorous training. The first wave of the attack was obliterated, setting the stage for the catastrophic losses that would define the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot and seal the fate of Japanese carrier aviation. On the morning of the 19th of June, 1944, the skies over the Philippine Sea became a deadly arena as the Japanese launched their first carrier strike. 69 aircraft took off from Ozawa's carriers, aiming to engage the American fleet. However, radar operators across Task Force 58 detected them over 150 miles out, giving fighter directors time to vector Hellcats into perfect intercept positions. American pilots scrambled, climbing to altitude advantage, ready to meet the approaching enemy. The Japanese pilots, mostly inexperienced replacements, made a critical mistake. They flew tight, straight formations, presenting ideal targets. As the Hellcats converged from multiple directions, the first wave of attackers was decimated. Lieutenant Junior Grade Alexander Vatu, flying his F6F Hellcat, described the scene later as, like a kid in a candy store, shooting down 6 Judy dive bombers in just 8 minutes using only 360 rounds of ammunition. Commander David McCampbell, leading 12 Hellcats from VF-15, engaged enemy planes at 25,000 feet, using a high-side run to down 5 dive bombers, then chased and destroyed 2 Mitsubishi A6-0 fighters over Guam, all in a single morning sortie. The technical superiority of the Hellcat was decisive. Where the Zero weighed just 5,313 pounds loaded, the Hellcat tipped the scales at 12,598 pounds, incorporating armor plating, self-sealing fuel tanks, and bulletproof glass. The R2-80010 engine delivered 2,000 horsepower, outclimbing and outrunning the Japanese fighters at all altitudes. Its 6.50 caliber Browning machine guns, with 400 rounds each, could unleash a lethal stream of fire converging at optimal range. Zeros, lightly armored and carrying limited ammunition, were at a fatal disadvantage. By mid-morning, the first wave of 69 Japanese aircraft had lost 42 planes, while American losses were minimal. The second wave of 128 aircraft launched at 0900 0-0, met even worse odds. Every Hellcat in Task Force 58 was airborne or ready to launch, with fighter directors directing intercepts like chess masters orchestrating a perfect trap. Lieutenant Eugene Valencia of VF9 implemented the mowing machine tactic with 3 other pilots, claiming 50 victories between them over the course of the battle. The third and fourth waves, consisting of 47 and 82 aircraft respectively, were similarly annihilated. Experienced Japanese pilots like Zenji Abe were overwhelmed, while inexperienced replacements were cut down almost immediately. By noon, of 373 carrier aircraft launched, approximately 346 had been destroyed, a catastrophic loss. American losses totaled 33 aircraft, mostly from operational accidents rather than combat. As the American aircraft approached, the remaining Japanese fighters attempted to intercept, but they were vastly outnumbered and outclassed. Hellcats escorted the bombers with precise coordination, ensuring minimal American losses while delivering devastating strikes. The carrier Hyo was hit multiple times and sank, while Zuikaku, Juno, and Chitose were heavily damaged. Battleships and oilers also fell to coordinated bombing and torpedo attacks, leaving the Japanese fleet in chaos. The return flight posed another challenge. Many American planes were running low on fuel, some dangerously close to empty. In an unprecedented move, Admiral Mitcher ordered all Task Force 58 ships to illuminate their decks and activate searchlights, guiding pilots safely home. Despite the confusion and darkness, most pilots were rescued, while only 49 aircrew were killed or missing, far fewer than the Japanese losses in both men and aircraft. The final tally of the 2-day confrontation was staggering. The Japanese lost approximately 600 aircraft, 3 carriers, and 2 oilers, along with nearly all their remaining trained carrier pilots. American losses amounted to only 123 aircraft, most from fuel exhaustion rather than combat. The battle marked the complete destruction of Japanese carrier aviation as an effective fighting force. The decisive victory showcased the combined power of American technology, training, and industrial might. The F6F Hellcat, with its speed, firepower, armor, and reliability, had dominated the skies, while radar-guided fighter tactics and coordinated logistics ensured overwhelming efficiency. The Great Marianas Turkey Shoot was more than a battle. It was a demonstration of total American air supremacy and a turning point in the Pacific War, cementing the Hellcat's legendary status. The Battle of the Philippine Sea was more than a decisive engagement. It marked the end of Japanese carrier aviation as an effective force. In just 2 days, Japan lost nearly 600 aircraft, 3 carriers, and 2 oilers, along with almost all of its remaining experienced pilots. These losses were irreplaceable, crippling Japan's ability to project air power in the Pacific. For the United States, the battle demonstrated the lethal combination of advanced technology, superior training, and industrial capacity. The F6F Hellcat, designed to outmatch the Zero in every aspect, proved its worth with unmatched performance, armor, and firepower. American pilots, guided by radar-directed fighter control and supported by an efficient logistics network, achieved a staggering kill ratio of 19-1, showcasing both skill and innovation. Beyond the numbers, the psychological impact was profound. Japanese pilots, demoralized and overwhelmed, saw their once-feared air force shattered, while American morale soared. The battle confirmed the effectiveness of industrial warfare, strategic planning, and technological superiority. Ultimately, the Hellcat and its pilots had not only won a critical victory, but had also cemented American air dominance in the Pacific, shaping the remainder of World War II and ensuring that the Japanese could no longer challenge Allied control of the skies.